Kicked out. Andrew loses £500,000. Sarah Ferguson plans her escape. The Royal Lodge eviction just got brutal, and Fergie's next move will shock the royal family. The Royal Lodge exodus. Sarah Ferguson plots independent future in Windsor as Andrew faces financial ruin and loss of £500,000 compensation. The countdown clock. Andrew's disgrace forces a new era. Eviction shock. Disgraced Prince Andrew must surrender his 30-room mansion after the Epstein scandal, and now faces losing nearly £500,000 in compensation due to the shocking state of the property. Meanwhile, his ex-wife, Sarah Ferguson, is making a clean break and plotting her own destiny. Sarah Ferguson is said to be planning her next home move as the clock ticks down on her and former husband Andrew being booted out of their Royal Lodge home. Disgraced former Prince Andrew was forced to give up the lease on the 30-room mansion that he shared with ex-wife Fergie after he was stripped of his titles at the end of October following revelations about his association with pedophile Jeffrey Epstein. The royal family's decision to remove Andrew from the luxurious property, where he resided under a highly scrutinized peppercorn rent deal, marks a definitive end to his life as a senior royal. The public humiliation and loss of his prestigious home serve as a stark consequence of his deeply damaging associations. Andrew is set to go and live on the Sandringham estate in the new year in a much smaller property, but Fergie will not be joining him. This separation of living arrangements is highly significant, cementing the idea that Sarah Ferguson is actively detaching her public and private life from Andrew's ongoing disgrace. Fergie's quest for independence, rejecting royal lifelines. Speculation has mounted on where the former Duchess of York will live, with reports that she had been offered a granny annex in a former cattle shed building on a property in the Cotswolds owned by eldest daughter, Princess Beatrice, shot down. Similarly, it has been denied that she will move abroad to Portugal to live in a property owned by youngest daughter, Princess Eugenie. The denial of these seemingly convenient family offers underscores Fergie's apparent drive for autonomy. She is rejecting the perceived lifelines of her daughters, opting instead to stand on her own 2 feet during this tumultuous time. Now it has emerged that she has, in fact, reportedly been looking for her own house, and wants to stay in the Windsor area. This desire to remain close to the royal hub suggests a commitment to maintaining her UK base, family ties, and perhaps her role as a figure of royal adjacent stability, contrasting sharply with Andrew's forced exile. A source close to Fergie told The Times, she wants to stay in the UK, ideally in the Windsor area, and she wants to have her own base so that she can live independently and continue to pursue many things as Sarah Ferguson. This statement is a powerful declaration of intent. The Duchess is transitioning from being an appendage of the monarchy to an independent woman and author, charting her own course under her own name. Financial devastation. Andrew loses his payout. News of Fergie's potential new move comes after it was revealed that Andrew faces being booted out of Royal Lodge with no compensation due to the extent of repairs needed. The disgraced former prince looks set to lose £500,000 after surrendering the lease on the property. An investigation is to be launched into the Crown estate and leases it has granted for homes held by other members of the royal family after MPs demanded answers on Andrew's lucrative rent deal for the Windsor mansion. It emerged that Andrew only paid a peppercorn rent if demanded for the home in the last 2 decades. The public backlash over this seemingly sweetheart deal prompted immediate political intervention. It forced the public spending watchdog, the Public Accounts Committee, dubbed the Queen of Select Committees, to demand answers from both the Treasury and Crown Estate, asking them to explain Andrew's lucrative lease. Profits from the Crown estate are given to the Treasury for public spending, and questions had mounted over whether the taxpayer was missing out due to the deal. On Tuesday, the committee, which looks into whether taxpayers' money is being wisely spent, published details of the property arrangements provided by Crown Estate Chief Executive Dan Labid. It shows that Andrew gave the minimum 12 months notice that he would surrender Royal Lodge on October 30th, meaning he could stay there until October next year. It also shows that if no end of tenancy repairs were required, Andrew would have been entitled to £488,342.21 for ending his tenancy on October 30, 2026. But the Crown Estate said that following an inspection of the property on November 12, it was thought unlikely that any compensation would be paid. It said, "Our initial assessment is that while the extent of end-of-tenancy dilapidations and repairs required is not out of keeping with a tenancy of this duration, they will mean, in all likelihood, that Andrew Mountbatten Windsor will not be owed any compensation for early surrender of the lease, once dilapidations are taken into account." But, before this position can be fully validated, however, a full and thorough assessment must be undertaken post-occupation by an expert in dilapidation. The financial loss, close to £500,000, adds a painful financial sting to his public humiliation, cementing the high price he is paying for his past associations and poor judgment.